Hi everybody, welcome to Hometown Heroes, episode 27. Our guest today is Tim Klund. Tim is an Air Force veteran and known by everyone as TK. TK is regarded as one of the top industry leaders in the world of corporate and sports marketing as a relationship specialist. He is currently the CEO and founder of Verb Systems LLC, which is focused on products that enhance performance, protection, and recovery for our bodies. Buy products at buyverb.com. He is the author of Stop Whining, Start Winning, which was published in 2017 and focuses on helping individuals get out of their current personal rut and getting back on track to winning and reaching their personal and professional goals in life. His new book is Stop Whining, Start Winning 2.0, the workbook. He is the founder of the Red River Celebrity Softball Game, which started in 2017 to 2019. The game is made up of celebrity alumni from both Texas and Oklahoma universities and benefits several charitable foundations. Foundations include the Toby Keith Foundation, the Roger Clemens Foundation, and J.K. Livin Foundation, which was founded by Matthew McConaughey. He is also founder of the Celebrity Softball Classic, which started in 2019 and continues each year. Tim works with several national veteran and individual foundations, assisting in raising monies and awareness for causes. In November of 2022, he received the Lee Greenwood Patriot Award from helpinghero.org for his work in the veteran community. We're excited to have TK on the show. Let's join the show in progress as TK is chatting with our host about World War II and Iwo Jima survivor Don Graves.
So first of all, he was mad because he couldn't get any more overhand so he threw it underhand. And we were walking off, and he was like, "I can't believe you didn't let me sing the national anthem." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, I sing the national anthem." I'm like, "Why didn't you tell me?" I'm like, "All right, from now on, you got the national anthem from now on." But then we took him up into the suite, and oh my God, all the ladies, my wife and all her girlfriends, everybody just like, I mean, all you heard about Don Graves, this guy, Don Graves, oh, he's so sweet. And then by the time I got up there, I'm like, I told my wife, I said, "Look, if you go before me, just know that I'm going to be Don Graves. If I'm left on this earth after you, I'm going to be this guy."
Yeah, for real.
He's already my hero. He just went up another level in my book because, I mean, he's got every beautiful girl around him all the time.
All the time.
I mean, it's just like, this is where I'm going to be.
You got to kind of watch Don.
Oh, yeah. He's so hilarious.
Did you ever know Fisk?
I didn't.
He was Don number 2.
Yeah, or he was the original probably.
Yeah, he would come over, Rick would bring him over, and gotta be just, this guy was 99 years old at the time, tell me, he was a Japanese
POW. Yep.
And he'd say, "Rick, gotta go see my girlfriend." And I said, "Which one?" He said, "Any of them at the banks."
Yeah.
And Rick would say, "We gotta go. He's ready to go."
Yeah.
But I mean, gosh, those guys.
Well, in
Just to think everything
2021,
they've been through.
Yeah, in 2021, when he didn't know you had a special treat for him at the celebrity softball game, but I knew. And so I got to watch as you pulled off a little.
We actually had so he came and sang at the 2021 celebrity game at Globe Life Field, but the Bob Feller Foundation wanted to get involved, and they actually gave Don an autographed ball, Bob Feller, who's also a World War II veteran, and did some tribute for him there. And he
couldn't believe it.
He was just blown up on that. And then the last one too we did, we had our celebrity artists come in on Friday night, and KVK, Katie had painted the picture, and he didn't know he was getting the other one. And then so we raffled one off, and then we gave him another one at roll call. Actually, is when we gave him the second one, which he was just, again, blown away. He kept saying, "Where's that cute cowboy? Where's that cute?" I said, first of all, you might want to say cowgirl. You're talking a little loud, and people are like hearing you saying cute cowboy. They're probably wondering about you. Like, there are cowgirls that wear cowboy hats, so let's go cowgirl. He goes, "I never thought about that." So I was like, yeah, let's say cowgirl, not where's that cute cowboy at. So anyway, it was funny. But yeah, he's just an absolute sweetheart. And like I said, my wife and I, we just adore him. And I mean, my God, when you talk about a national treasure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. And we've had him, he came and spoke to the kids at All Saints, the football team, and even listened to his story of coming through the Great Depression and everything, he's done and been through, and it's just, wow. Anyway, amazing.
We had a little bit of technical difficulty there. And I think it was while we were talking about Andrew. So something happened to the sound. So we might want to kind of review that again,
Sure.
just so everybody knows about Andrew. Andrew Pearl, he was a photographer. He was a dad, a school teacher, a pastor. He did a lot of stuff. But he was a good friend of Tim's and a good friend of mine. Dusty back there on the sound and video, they grew up from the time they were in the 8th grade. But we lost Andrew in 2021, right after the Celebrity Softball Classic. And this last year at the softball game, you had his 4 daughters. And there's a picture of Andrew and his 4 daughters and his wife, Stephanie. And it was just a great tribute that you made to Andrew. And I just want to thank you for
Well,
that
like I said,
tribute.
it's the least we could do. He's he's been at every game, heading it up, and he's always one of those. That's the thing about the celebrity games. First of all, it's like a big family reunion, and that's honestly one of the reasons why I continue to do it. Just because it's the only opportunity you really get to get everybody in one place for a weekend. And so, like even with Andrew, even living in DFW, I only saw him maybe a couple times a year, maybe, and one of them was at the celebrity game. And he's the first guy to come up and give you a big hug, always got a smile on his face, always, every single person there, by the time the game's over with, they're all Facebook friends with Andrew. They're all just love Andrew. And, he just touched so many people through these games. And, he always opened up the games with prayer. So he was our guy that always did that for us. And then again, he'd always bring his daughter all the games, and she would just be right on his, hip and everything he did. And again, he was just one of the nicest guys and just overly missed, And I knew when he passed away and, all the phone calls I was getting from guys and girls that played in the games and, the veterans that played in the games and just, devastated over it. It was just like, okay, yeah, we got to do something. And even same thing the year before. We had a young lady, Adriana, with the Children's Cancer Fund, brought her out, and same way she touched so many of the athletes, and then she passed away early in 2022. So we had her family out there at the beginning of the game as well to do a little tribute to her as well, because again, she, and then I got to meet her at the game, but then got to know her and her family as the year went, and even all the way up to this even current. We all still stay in touch, and they created a new foundation for her. But so we always have the cancer. A lot of the children that have cancer come out. We try to do what we can with these games. It's kind of like a Jerry Jones. How much can we get out of this one event, right? Let's just Jerry Jones this event. Like if we can bring somebody out here and it's just about changing lives and giving people opportunities that maybe they wouldn't normally get. That, honestly, people like I take for granted on a daily basis because I just get to be around it all the time and having fun with it anyway, right? So, and again, it's always for good causes, and there's just so many great people around there, and so many great relationships are made, and that's what it's all about.
And you don't realize whenever you do things like that how many lives you touch.
Yeah.
No,
I personally don't. There's things years later, somebody was like, hey, we were at your one game and this happened, and you're like, what? And it just made an impact that, again, there's no idea. And so that's kind of for me too, the fun side of it is that, I don't do it, just for that, but I do know there's a bunch of lives change and a bunch of people that get their first opportunity. Like even with the Globe Life Field, there were so many individuals that we gave away free tickets to the Police Foundation, to Fort Worth PD, to all these different foundations, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I was getting thank you letters and people hitting me up on Facebook going, oh my God, it's the first time we ever got to go to the Globe Life Field. It was such an honor. We would never get to have gone if we didn't have free tickets, and those type of things that mean the most to me, and being able to give back. So it just makes it fun, and again, people like Andrew and Adriana and everybody, they just make those games worthwhile.
Sure.
And how did you get involved in the celebrity sports deal?
Just by chance. I was in corporate America. That's what brought me down here with the Fortune 500 company, Oakwood Homes. And in 2000, driving home to Aledo late one night, fell asleep at the wheel and took out two of the big light posts right there at 20 and 820, and actually died and had to be revived 4 times. And called my wife and basically like, he's not going to make it. We'll keep him on ventilator till you get here. And that was October 8th, 2000. October 13th was my birthday, and I had my face replaced on my birthday. So that's a birthday present that I get to think about every year, that the good Lord kept me around. But, I was working 7 days a week, at that point making great money, but it was all about money. And, you know, with 2 young kids, and after that, it was kind of like, man, life's too short. Like, what have I really done? I'm 30 now. What have I really done? And my wife worked for the Federal Bureau of Prisons at the time, and she came home one day and was like, what are we going to do? And I was watching Jerry Maguire, and I was like, I think I want to be a Jerry Maguire. And I still think I had the big turban, you know, on my head. My head was still wrapped up from surgery. And she was like, I mean, I can still see her face to this day, like, this guy's lost his mind. And she was like, first of all, you don't even have a college degree. Like, number one. Number two, you don't even know an athlete. Like, realistically, like, what are we going to do for money? It was like, I don't know. I just think that'd be fun and I'd be good at it. Well, fast forward, probably 90 days, 6 months, a friend of mine called me and said, hey, are you going back to manufacturing homes? And no, well, we got a corporation, come work here. We have a VP leaving. We'll move you up into VP. And then probably not even a few months after that, I went to go meet a person at a restaurant in Dallas. And I was early. He was late. So I just bellied up at the bar. And there was a gentleman, bar stool, and then a gentleman. And his name's Lemuel Stinson from Chicago Bears. We started having some drinks and gave my card. And again, same thing, rest is history. We started doing some semi-pro football stuff together here in Fort Worth. And that was it. Started with him. And he was like, you know, whatever we make. It's funny because he called me and said, hey, I want you to handle all my marketing. And then so now I have my Jerry Maguire moment. I'm like, man, I'm not your guy. He's like, yeah, you're my guy. He's like, I tell you what, we'll split everything 50-50. And I was like, I have a job. If you're willing to take that risk, you can keep all of it because I don't know what I can even do for you. And so he and I started working together and doing really well. And then Super Bowl MVP Larry Brown asked him, like, how are you getting these gigs? You know, oh, you got to get with my guy TK. So that's how I just kind of started going around with retired guys. First, we did Rayfield Rice Hall of Fame party for him. Big Cat was a good friend. And I'd called him when on the Saturday he found out he was getting inducted and to wish him congratulations. And he was like, hey, I need some help doing a party. So we did his party, had Temptations there, and we did Super Bowl events. Like my wife, I'm surprised she does have to go get her hair colored twice a week with my endeavors because so he's like, I think I'm going to do this. And she's like, oh my God. Finally, she's quit. Now she's pushing like, hey, you should be doing this, or hey, why don't you think about this? And but yeah, that's how it started. It just started with him, started with retired players. Then I had a Super Bowl party in Jacksonville, and Darren Woodson was with us, and Julius Jones had just finished his rookie year with the Cowboys and was walking through, and D. Wood pulled him up in our suite at the Super Bowl party, and then we became friends with Julius, and my wife and I then saw him probably 2 weeks later at a Mavs game going to a suite. He came and hung in our suite the whole game, and same thing, rest is history. He and I did a party together, and during the Cowboys bye weekend that season, and probably had about at least 40 current players there. You know, Patrick Creighton, I think, was second-year guy, and I met PC there, and D. Ware, and Marion Barber was a rookie, and Lusaka Polite, I think, was a first or second-year guy, and Andre Gerard, all those guys. You know, Tony Romo was still third stringer at that time, I think. And so I started working with all those guys, and just really what I was doing for those guys is getting them involved with different charities and foundations for what they were interested in, and just helping them with the name branding that way, and then getting them to elevate their brand and their name through foundation work. And, you know, Big Brothers and Big Sisters, for instance, you know, Patrick Creighton, you know, he volunteered to come and help be involved, but the more he was involved, the more the corporate people of Big Brothers, supporters of Big Brothers, were like, hey, what can we do to get Patrick to come do something at our car dealership, or get Patrick to come talk to our people, or things like that. So that's how it always took off. But the relationship with those guys, you know, I never charge them any money, but they've always paid me back that if I need their help with a celebrity game or something like that, they always come and play for free. They never charge, or come and talk to kids' schools or stuff like that. So it's always been a more of a family relationship than it is a business.
Wow.
You know,
That's a great business model.
not bad.
Yeah.
It's been working so far without trying to make it work, but you know, it's just, you know, a lot of people ask me about my success. It's just, man, you know, I'm just very blessed to have a lot of good friends.
Yeah.
You know, that's really what it boils down to more than anything, is my relationships.
It gets you in a lot of cool places with a lot of cool
All the
people.
cool
doesn't
places,
it?
yeah. All the coolest people, all the coolest places, and you know, it's always a good time, no matter what we're doing.
None of this would have ever happened if we didn't have social media. Can you imagine back in the day?
Yeah, well, we were doing all that even before social media. I always kid my wife going, man, if we'd had this, you know, because I started probably in 2001, and I don't even think I got on Facebook until maybe 2010 or something. I think is when I got on. And, it's kind of funny. I was telling my kids, we were watching the Michael Jordan thing, the last Dance. And I told them when I was working on Super Bowl in 07, it was 06, I was in Miami. And the guy who's a good friend of mine that ran pretty much all the bars in South Beach, he was like, hey, Michael Jordan's at this bar. Do you guys want to go meet him? Me and my business partner were like, of course we want to go meet Michael Jordan. So we got to go meet Michael, but I was telling my wife, like, that's when you had the flip phones. Like, you couldn't take pictures or anything like you can nowadays. So literally, like, there's Michael Jordan. I'm literally sitting here. Charles Oakley sitting there. My business partner sitting right here. They had some other friends sitting around the table. And Michael's telling a story, cigar, drink in hand, just, holding the audience. And I left there and I was like, that's when you're walking around this thing, click. And I didn't even have that on me. And you're just like, oh, nobody's ever going to believe we got to literally have a drink with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And Charles Oakley. And, but yeah, it's those type of things too, even before social media that, we never got an opportunity. That's why, I'm a selfie king. I just love to capture every moment when I'm out with everybody. Even for my own self. If you probably looked at my phone, I probably got 5,000 pictures on my phone easily. Because I just, like even today before we leave, we'll get a shot. But I just like, to me, you can make all the money in the world. It's not going with you. My dad passed away of cancer. One of the things we talked about, it'd be 12 years now. That was 2010 when he passed. One thing we talked about is that really the only thing you get at the end of your life to look back on is your what you got to do in it, right? I can't think of the right word. Experiences. Thank you. Just the experiences, right? Mm-hmm. So to me, those are the most valuable thing to me. Like it could be something like the Armed Forces Bow that we saw each other at or whatever, but just getting to go see individuals you love and hang out with them, and even if it's an hour, just to get to hang out with somebody and just get to do some fun stuff that can make a difference. Those are the fun things for me and my wife. I mean, Jessica and I love doing that stuff, and we scaled it down a little bit compared to our normal, but again, it's always just an absolute blast. And we've got friends all over the United States, so no matter where we travel, there's always friends in some community or some city we're going to that we definitely have to take the time to go have dinner with, or we got to force them to say, do not post anything on social media until we're out of town on this day, because if you post it and everybody else here in Colorado Springs or wherever sees we're hanging out, I'm going to get killed with everybody going, hey, where are you at? Why are you not over here? So it's always kind of funny, but like I told Jessica, it's a good thing. Even on social media nowadays, there's so many people that you want to wish Merry Christmas to, and I'll start texting. It's like, you know what? I'm so lazy. It's like, let me just post it on social media. Like, there's just too many people to even text.
Sure.
Or even say, but again, that's the blessing, right? To be able to have that many friends, you could only, if you could get one good friend out of this life, it'd be phenomenal, that you could trust with anything. And we're overly blessed to have hundreds. So, if I were to die today, I could promise you I would have lived the fullest life, the best life. For me personally, especially compared to what my high school counselor said I would amount to. So, which was not a very high standard back then.
I think there's probably a few of us like that.
Yeah.
Which was not a very high standard back then. Best thing could ever happen to me, my dad would said, college probably not your opportunity, and I'm going to get you a job tomorrow. And took me to Armed Forces recruiters that said pick one. So that's how.
What'd you do in the Air
Picked
Force?
the right one.
Yeah, I sure did. Well, my dad and my grandfather were both Army, and my grandfather retired from the Army. He's a drill instructor. And they both ended up being long-haul truck drivers. So I was like, I'm not going to be a long-haul truck driver. So my uncle was in World War II. He was in the Air Force, and he had done really well in business for himself. So I was like, you and Grandpa went this day. I'm going to go with Uncle Jake on this side. And we went Air Force guy, and probably the best salesman of all time. If they would have had the big #1 phone finger, me and my dad would have had it on the way out. And if you remember back in them days, they'd give you a bunch of gear. You had hats, sweatshirts, like you're walking out of that with gear. And we did walk out with a bunch of gear. And but getting back to your point with what I did, I was actually an electrician in the Air Force, and then went from interior to exterior. But I went to the Philippines when I actually my dad had to sign for me because I was 17 when I graduated high school. I turned 18 in basic training. And then I was in the Philippines. That's in February of '89. So literally barely over 8 months after I graduated high school, and which was a whole new experience for me being 18 years old. But God gave me a great gift of athleticism, so I was lucky enough to play on the squadron soccer team and I never even played soccer, and squadron softball team, and then I made the base teams in the Philippines for both soccer and softball. So it was great because I got to travel Pacific at the same time. For like 90 days, you're doing this one. You come back for about a month off, then you're back on another sport. So it was a great career. And then I went to Peterson Air Force Base, was my next duty assignment, which was like 2 5-star locations, Clark Air Force Base, Peterson Air Force Base, and 2 great duty assignments. And then made the actually got to play semi-pro football there in Colorado Springs, what they call TDY. And then I got a concussion, got my knee blew out. So the Air Force is like, you're done with that. And then went back to softball full time and played on some civilian teams. And I played on the base team, and then I made the All Air Force team. So my last 3.5 years, I was traveling and playing All Air Force softball, and then playing TDY with some civilian softball teams at the same point, and just had a passion for it. And then I had a commander that came in while Clinton was in service in '95, who. So you got the one commander that loves you out doing all that. Then you got the commander that probably shouldn't have been Air Force. Like, you're in the wrong career path, bro. You should have been like Marine Corps or Army if you're that gung-ho. But, and he was like worried about taxpayers' money. And I'm thinking, man, we're paying like $18 for a $4 hammer. And you're worried about me out playing softball. Okay. Anyway, so it's early out. And so I actually left the Air Force early with an honorable after 6.5 years to go play college football at Southeast Missouri State. My little brother had just finished his sophomore year there and was All-American. And so I left to go play with him and got out early and ended up right before football season started. A good friend of mine ended up recruiting me into manufactured homes. And when he was like, come work for me, I sell trailers. I'm like, dude, I'll go play college football. And then he showed me what he was making in '95 selling manufactured homes, almost 6 figures in Southeast Missouri. And I was like, to me, that was Donald Trump money after what I was getting paid in the Air Force. So it was like, oh my God, get me hired. And talked to Coach Mumford, and Coach Mumford from Southeast Missouri State, like, Klund, I'm a D1 coach with my master's. I only make $75 a year. You can make more than that, make anywhere close to that or more than that, selling manufactured homes with no college debt.
Go for it.
All day. So once Coach Mumford gave me the green light, that was it. That's where I went. I went career path on that. And the cool thing is, it was so far along that I was in the program for Southeast Missouri State the whole football season. So I do get to show my kids every now and then. They're like, but you never even played. I'm like, I'm in the program, bro. Like, check mark, we're there. So anyway, no, it's been a great career. And like I said, that's what brought me down here with Oakwood Homes, which was a Fortune 500 company at the time. I just kind of got luckily recruited on up, manufactured homes, and brought me down here. And then, actually the softball games came about. We were, Marcus Luttrell and I was at his gala. I was on his board. And, because when you get out of the military, you get a job, you don't have time for softball anymore. And then you get married, you got kids, and then you got kids stuff, and
and you really
like,
don't
adios,
have time.
Dad, like
Right.
whatever Dad wants. So Marcus and I were talking, and is at his gala, and we're both kind of like, I'm so sick of black tie events, And I was like, we should do a softball game. And he was like, let's do it. So our first game we did was in 2015 at University of Rice, and we did co-ed celebrities versus co-ed veterans is what we did. Amputees, able bodies. And we put it together in less than 90 days. I think we raised almost $50,000, and it was such a huge hit for everybody playing. And then the relationships, the celebs loved the vets were loved celebs, and there's a lot of great veterans that played that are pretty big superstars, like Scooter Brown from War Hippies now.
Yeah.
Scooter Brown Band, he played in it when he was relatively unknown. Jacob Schick played in it when he was relatively. Joey Jones, who's now on Fox, who was unknown at the time, and now he's on doing all the Fox Nation stuff. And so it's really fun to see a lot of those guys and girls in their career here too. Now they're all up here. But it was just a really fun thing. And then with the one, when Clemens and I were talking about the OUT, it was OUUT, all guys, and then we had veterans on both teams. And so that's kind of how that kicked off. And then the 18 game, after the 18 game, all my other celebrities, guys and girls, started complaining, like, this is really cool, the OU, what about us? We want a game. So then in 19, we did the carry the load game at Grand Prairie Air Hogs. COVID hit, knocked everything out. Donnie Nelson sold the Air Hogs to a cricket team, and then minor league was slow to opening back up. That's when Globe Life, the Rangers, called and said, hey, why don't you have your games here? So we did a 2-year deal with them. This year in 2023, we might have 2 games, but both will be up at Dr. Pepper Ballpark again in Frisco. And they'll stay up there from now on. So we're going to do a long-term deal with them and lock it in and have some fun. So.
And that's a nice stadium.
Oh, it's a phenomenal stadium. It's probably one of the best minor league ballparks, I think, in the nation. I've been to a lot of them, and it's so fan-friendly. And no offense to Globe Life. I love Globe Life Field, but I love the old stadium better because it was fan-friendly because, the players could come up and talk to you on the wall. You get some autographs. They'd always come over and see the kids before the game. The way Globe Life is now, because you have dugouts and restaurants underneath along the field, the front row is 10 feet off the air now and back, so you can't even get an autograph anymore. Or, and then you got the net from foul pole to foul post, so even trying to throw a autograph ball in, you can't even do that anymore. Yeah. So it's just so corporate again, like AT&T Stadium is compared to old stadium, that guys come right up to you and same thing. So I'm just not a big fan of the new corporate. I get it from a corporate standpoint on money. I just, the fans are the ones that pay for the players.
Well, at the Cowboys, you can, if you're in that seating where they run through there,
the Miller Lite area, and again, you might get a high five maybe, but again, it's just not as fun as the other.
And you have a lot more celebrities that show up that aren't out there on the field because I went to
a lot of them just want to come and hang out.
Yeah, I went to the news conference you had, and I was sitting there and I thought, that guy next to me looks familiar, and it's Tony Dorsett.
Yeah, TD. He usually always comes, and it's always it just turns out to be a big party in DFW. So even if they're not playing, a lot of them will just come and hang out at the game, hang out up in a suite, have fun, and go to the after party. Or even like this last year, we had the Friday night party. There was a lot of celebrities in DFW that came to that, and VIPs that weren't even in the game on Saturday. But again, it's just one of those where you just kind of want to be there, and it's always going to be a good time, and just a ton of great people to hang out. And you guys have both been there. Everybody that you see there is approachable. It's not like somebody's like, oh, even Michael Irvin was there hanging out, having fun, taking pictures with everybody. Like that's probably the biggest thing I got from most people. It's like, oh my God, Michael Irvin was so cool. Let's take a picture with you. I'm like, yes, that's how he is. Yeah. But a lot of people, you hear stuff through the media that people aren't like this, or they won't take a picture. I won't even invite those people. Like if they're that kind of people, we might still have a great relationship. It's just that you're probably not for this event. If you can't come and hang out and have fun, stay at home. The Gronkowski brothers are always a ton of fun. Shane Crutchin, from the UFC and U.S. Marine Corps veteran as well. And every single individual in there, like most people, everybody's kind of spoiled actually, because there are so many great veterans and celebrities that are there that most of them don't even know most of their backgrounds. Like if they were really to go down each person's background and really pay attention, they'd be like, oh my God, like everybody in that room is somebody. And it just makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So you're an entrepreneur too.
Yeah, so in 2008, when the economy was taking a hit, I was a senior executive vice president for a Fortune 500 company, and they brought me in one day and told me we need to get rid of about half the company. And I was like, great, start with my salary, I'm out of here. And I went home and told my wife that, resigned, and what are we going to do? I don't know. And so then for the next 2 years, we really got our rear ends handed to us, and then ended up going into performance mouthpieces with another group as consultant, and then created our company in 2010 with another professional athlete, and we just couldn't get the prices low enough. We did some IRB approved studies with the U.S. Air Force Academy, showed some amazing results. But in 2016, I was like, hey, we need to come out with a retail one that is $50 or less that does what this $1,000 mouthpiece, custom fitted mouthpiece does. And my partner at the time didn't want to do it, and it was like, great, I'm done, you can buy me out. And that was the end of 2016. So thus how the book came, I had a publisher, Eric Shaw, U.S. Army veteran. He was like, hey, you need to write a book. You're out doing speaking engagements, blah, blah, blah. You should have a book. I'm like, man, I'm not doing it. And so I actually wrote my autobiography. I read it. I called him and said, hey, I just wrote my book about myself. It sucks. I wouldn't even read this book about me. It doesn't get me excited. It's about me. I'm not writing a book. Good luck. Thank you. And he was like, no, you got to have one, TK. And I was like, if you let me write a book on kind of how I got from A to Z with no college education to the highest, without the exception of being a CEO for an executive for a Fortune 500 company, but executive vice president and everything else, and how I got there through great mentors. Let me write something like that, and I'm in. So I wrote this, and he was like, it's too small. We can never publish a book that's, and it was like, take it or leave it. Like, don't ever call me again unless you, like, at least about a book. So what happened is the title is, after I left my company, I spent 6.5 years building, and doing everything for her. It's kind of like, here I am again, 46 now, starting at square one again. Woe is me. And while I was writing a book, my wife came in and she was like, you need to stop your whining and get back to winning. And she's like, that's what you need to do. And there's some other choice words in that as well.
Oh, bad.
And so that's where it was like, stop whining, start winning. And that's where the title of the book came from, is actually from her. And then in early 2017, Clemens and I do the OUT game. And then I was getting a lot of calls from other dentists saying, hey, you're no longer with them, come with us. And I'd hung up the phone with one of the dentists late one night. And my wife was like, I don't know why you don't do your own company. Everybody's calling you. You're the one who got all the relationships. You're the one who basically built the other company. You're telling them how to fix their products. Like, I don't know why you don't do your own. And so I thought about it, and then it was like, you know what? It's actually a great idea. If I'd have started listening to my wife probably 10 years earlier, I'd probably already be retired. I mean, I can't tell you how many times she said, you need to do this or don't be with that, or, and she was always right. So I could have saved myself a lot of issues in the previous 10 years if I'd listened to her. But so I started listening to her more, and she was right. So then what I did is I went and surrounded myself. My partners are, top of the line, smartest people I know. Karan Rajan Bahandari, he's probably one of the number one branding guys in America. I mean, Mercedes-Benz, Dr. Pepper, Pepsi-Cola, 7-Eleven, you name it, have hired him to come in and fix their deals. And he handles all the brands. So everything from logos to, you name it, he does it. And he's also the research guy. He likes to sit in his home office in Scottsdale, go play some morning golf, come back, and I call him Willy Wonka. So I put the deals together. I flip it over to him and go, do your research. Give me the scope of it, yay or nay. So he'll come back and give me the pros and the cons, and then we'll make a decision if we're going to move forward with something. And then our other partner is, we call him the Rain Man. He pretty much tested out of Yale, but he's a numbers guy. He's the one who helps with all the back end. And again, great entrepreneur, Michael Bloom. And so the three of us got together, and we've just been, again, very fortunate that we've had the Air Force Academy, Colonel Zupan, who 22 years at the Human Performance Center there, 27 years retired. When I took him the mouthpieces with the last company to do the IRB studies, he was like, this is BS. He ain't going to help anybody. And so we kind of forced his hand. He did it. Long story short, now he's on the Verve team now that he's retired. And we are coming out with a retail product. But all of our products are health and wellness. We started with the mouthpiece. Well, that was with our industrial design guy. CBD came legal with the Farm Bill. I didn't know anything about CBD. A good friend of mine, Boone Cutler, called me and said, you should be doing your own CBD. I'm not getting into CBD. I don't know nothing about it. Then he educated me on what CBD was doing to help our veterans get off all their medications. And I just had I guess just talking to a veteran probably a year before who was wearing our mouthpiece sleeping because it gets more oxygen while you're at rest. And then you work out and whatnot. It's just all about oxygen. He was telling me that sleeping in it, he's been able to reduce, get down to like 6 pills a day. I'm like, great, 6 pills. I don't take any pills, so is that good or bad? And he was like, I was taking 8 to 10 pills 3 times a day. He was a Navy SEAL, and I'm like, how are you taking 24 to 30 pills a day? So, but that's what our VA is doing. So it starts with sleep.
Right.
I need sleep pills. Then I'm waking up groggy. Here's your Adderall back.
Yep.
Then I got aches and pains, structural damage. I'm depressed. I lost friends, and pills,
Everything's a pill.
pills,
That's how the
right?
VA works.
And then all these chemicals in your body, right? They just don't interact well with each other. Then if you add alcohol, any other non-prescription drugs, marijuana, heroin, you name it, that a lot of these veterans do, it's just a recipe for disaster. And then on top of it, pretty much every veteran I know probably has a loaded gun on them. So it just takes that one moment of weakness that we end up losing a veteran. And so I went back from saying, I started looking at it like, well, let's think about it. I had this conversation with my wife, like, let's think about this for a minute. So you got World War I, you got World War II, you got Korea, you got Vietnam, you got Desert Storm, and you got this Iraqi freedom. And it's like, so was World War I and World War II more devastating than what these guys just went through? Like, these guys were doing 9 months to a year deployment and not, overly pretty much out of a backpack, right, where you had to dig a foxhole and sleep in it. Like World War I, World War II, you traced, you got dropped off, and we'll see you at the end of the war, pretty much, right? One way or another, we'll see you at the end of the war, hopefully. So, but what happened is, if you start to look in the early 1900s when that happened, alcohol was their release, right, for the most part. So they dealt with their PTS through alcoholism. Don Graves being one of them
Right.
before he found Christ.
Right.
So, like my grandfather, World War II, he was the one that always come home at the night. He'd have his cocktail, have his scotch. On the weekends, in a recliner, Grandma made him scotches. He'd watch Westerns all day till he pretty much fell asleep. Don't touch a channel, even though he's sleepy, he's still watching. That type of deal that you kind of go, okay, that's, again, how he was kind of dealing with stuff. But what happened with these veterans is the prescription came in, and the VA started pushing pills. And again, all those chemicals. Well, going back to the CBD, especially has the 0.3% THC in it, the full spectrum, what can trick the body into thinking you're getting what you need from the pills without taking pills. So that's actually, we ended up opening a CBD company first, Ver Forever. Then we went into apparel during COVID. We opened up patriotic apparel. We did a Trump Lives t-shirt, which I sent to President Trump and to Donald Jr., some other friends, and got a real nice letter from the president on how he loved the Trump Lives shirts. And then we created some patriotic apparel out of that. And then during COVID, my wife had me taking all these vitamins. And after about a month, like 30 vitamins a day, after about a month, I was like, you know what? I'd rather die of COVID. I can't take any more of these freaking horse pills. Like, forget it. I'll just drink my orange juice. I'll keep working out. I'm done with this. And talking with Raj one day, Raj was like, man, too bad we don't know anybody that can make sprays for us. I do know somebody. So I called Dr. Spray, and we were able to get together and create a whole new line of vitamin sprays. Again, all health and wellness to help you operate. And the thing about the sprays is 8 sprays a day, but you're getting a 90% plus absorption rate compared to taking a pill, which you're getting about a 25%, 30% at best absorption rate, because it goes right into through your tongue, right into your bloodstream immediately. But so we have one that's cold, which has your zinc and your vitamin C in it, which is the number one fighter against COVID and really the flu. Then we have your multivitamin. Then we have an energy. Then we have a sleep. The sleep's probably the number one because I'm telling you, like, it says 8 sprays. I probably take 4 to 6. I took 8 sprays the first time, and my wife was waking me up for Pilates, and I didn't have a clue who I was or where I was sleeping such a deep sleep. I was like, wow, I don't need 8 sprays of this stuff anymore. So I went down to probably 4 to 6 sprays a night. And then we have the vitamin D one, which we call Sunny. We have one Skinny, which is your B vitamins, which just helps suppress your appetite. But they've been doing unbelievably great. And so we have those. And we have of course, we have the custom side mouthpieces still. So my old company, I actually bought my old company back about almost 2 years ago now. So we've been getting all my professional athletes, and we're getting ready to do some IRB approved studies again with the Air Force Academy this year. Just fitted almost all the PBR guys, the rodeo guys, the bull riders. Colonel Zupan and his team, we did a 350-person study, 3-year study, all their D1 athletes, guys and girls, and they were able to reduce concussions and injuries at the Air Force Academy by 73%. Now, during those 3 years, it was the most winning in Air Force Academy history at the same time from all sports across the board. So Zupan's like, oh my God, we're winning. I'm like, if you're reducing injuries and concussions by 73%, that means your number ones are in the game more, which usually who's the ones getting hurt? It's your number ones. It's not your number 2 and 3 guys. It's your number ones. And there's a big difference between your ones and twos. So the more number ones you got in the game, obviously the better chance you have to win. And with the mouthpieces, what it does is it's kind of like a carburetor for your body. So when you're tensing, you're still breathing. It opens up your airway like CPR. So when your output's high, you got to get high oxygen recovery. If you're wearing one of the hockey, what I call pacifiers, or a hockey puck in your mouth, and then with your chin strap on, it's actually blocking your airway. So if you're wearing ours and the other team's wearing whatever, anything, as the game goes, they're getting tired faster than you. They're getting oxygen depleted faster than you. So in the fourth quarter, at the end of a basketball game, whatever, you're going to actually have more juice in your tank than them. That's really what it boils down to. But at the same time, jaw to skull separation. So if you do get hit, it does limit and reduce the opportunity to get concussion. I haven't, out of probably 400 top pro athletes through the NFL and Premier League, I've never had one actually have a concussion. One guy, Chris Harris, they thought he had a concussion, but by the next day he was cleared. He was good to go. So he never missed a practice, never missed a game. That was about as close as we'd ever gotten to a concussion. The PBR guys riding it, they're all riding with helmets now. So like I tell them, you just need to wear the lowers. You need to still be able to breathe, but even with them, if you're wearing this hockey puck and you're putting a helmet on, you're putting your chin strap on, you're not breathing for 8 seconds. And that 8 seconds is a long time to not be breathing, actually. So if they can wear ours and bite down on it at the same time while they're tensing and still breathe, it actually make them more flexible, better balance, more strength. So they're going to actually get a better ride in those 8 seconds. So I've got NASCAR people wearing it. We're working with some F1, AJ Voice Group. So there's nobody who can't wear it. So the upper is for protection, the lower is for performance. I wear mine. My wife and I wear ours when we do Pilates. I wear mine when I lift. And then we both sleep in ours because you get about a 30% more air intake while you're at rest. So you wake up more refreshed because your body's reoxygenated, right? So most of us don't realize how deoxygenated we really are. So we have that, and then again, we got the retail mouthpiece that will be coming out hopefully in 2024. Again, they're getting some studies with the prototypes at the Academy right now, actually unofficially. Just doing some testing with them, and so we hope to have those retail. But yeah, pretty busy to say the least.
I'll say.
Yeah. So
I thought I was busy.
I was gonna say I'm tired just listening to it.
yeah, we've already had a busy morning, and just to get to this point in the day. So, and everybody can find us just at buyverve.com, BUYVERVE.com, and all of our product lines are on there.
Where did the name come from?
My partner Raj,
Okay.
and he was like, "Hey, we should call this Verve." I'm like, "What's a Verve? Like, what are you talking about?" I would probably have this like beast mode mouthpieces or something crazy, but the word Verve itself has all the great adjectives underneath it, right? Enthusiasm, ability, all those great adjectives are actually in the word Verve. So Verve really describes all that. So again, only Raj, my partner, the Brainiac, would be the Willy Wonka, would be the one who would come up with Verve, right? And there are a lot of other things out there. There's like a Verve energy drink and Verve Records, I think, and there's a lot of companies I found that have the word Verve in it now. And but yeah, I mean, it's all about ability, enthusiasm, and our biggest thing is when we look at products is, does it help us live our life optimized? And that's how we should be living our lives optimized. And it all goes from a good diet, rest, hydration. There's a bunch of stuff that goes into all that. On top of it. So that's kind of our goal, is to get people refocused on how to get to that point in their life, right? So like I'm 52 now, I'll be 53 in October, but I hate to put this on there, I've probably been drinking beer at least since probably 12 or 13 growing up in southeast Missouri. I mean, you throw hay bales and pick up watermelons in the summer, and first thing everybody's like, hey, here you go.
Yeah.
Great, let's go have a few drinks, and now we're going to the city pool. So I told my wife, like, okay, I'm going to try a year without it. So like, how much, now I'm in such competition with myself to see how really healthy I could get my body, that we both have kind of made the commitment to be like, okay, like, let's cut out all the sugars, all the carbs, everything I actually love. Like I felt like in December I was locked up in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory because there was no sugar that I did not eat. From candy and cookies and everything. Like December is my favorite month from about November, from Thanksgiving until this point in January. It's like, bring me all your sugar. It's just bring it to me. I'm in. I'm going to cheat this whole month. I don't even care. So now that we've had that month, now it's like, okay, now let's get back on track and kind of see what we can do to, push our bodies to another level. So even like softball games, everything we do is always like, what else? I actually, honestly, after most games, my wife actually has to, be like, hey, let's go get you a beer, relax, because I'm just such a perfectionist that, most of the games I'm unhappy with. And then about a week later, I'll start thinking about it, and they're like, wow, okay, it actually was a pretty big deal.
Turned out pretty good.
But most of the time I'll leave, going, I'm not happy with what happened. Or, usually in my daily schedule, it's just like, but then, I have to go back, and something I do is write down all the wins for the day. Could be just from making the bed to whatever. And then what maybe didn't go right. And the pros always outweigh the cons, right? The blessings do. So, I just start focusing more on that than the negative stuff. But yeah, from a perfectionist standpoint, it's not easy being TK most of the time. And then ADD and OCD and every other D, triple letters in there. I mean, I probably got it all, but
I observed a little your OCD a while ago because you were straightening up some of Larry's shelves back here.
Yeah, that picture was a little bit out of his case up there. I love it, the one with D. Martin and President Reagan and John Wayne and Frank Sinatra, which is one of my favorite pictures anyway. And it was a little bit out, so it's kind of like, let me just
Well,
kind
the
of.
reason why is the Christmas tree had been there.
Knocked it
Yeah.
I
over a
moved it
little
out
bit.
this morning.
Well, my wife loves it because, I work out of home office. So she works at All Saints Episcopal in the athletic department. So for me personally, I do, if I'm at the house doing stuff, I'm usually doing laundry, definitely cleaning every day, vacuuming every day.
Man.
Dishes, like it's spotless. It's like the maid comes, and she'll tell me like, hey, so-and-so's coming to do the house this week. And I'm like, what? Why? She's like, you don't do deep cleaning. She'll hit the deep cleaning. You do the cosmetic. Okay, bring her. So anyway, but yeah, that's just how I personally am in everything I do.
What does this year have? What are you going to do?
Besides World Takeover again, we got, so Michael Irvin and I are working on a game for 2023. It's either April 15th, April 29th, if it happens. Michael wants to do it, but again, locking Michael down. He's one of those text you and I'll be like, hey, I'm going to call you today. A week later, you're going, how long is your day? Like, we got to get on the phone together. Yeah, I'm traveling. I'll call you later on this afternoon. It's just getting Michael locked down. He wants to do the game. We're going to do a Cowboys versus Cowboys. The Hall of Famers, Ring of Honors, should be Ring of Honor, and then current guys, offense versus defense.
That'd be a good game.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And then we're going to raise money for a veteran foundation called Hounds and Heroes, which is Bonnie Jo Laughlin, who's baby sister to me and Michael. And, again, even to my wife, Jessica. I mean, they probably talk more than even I do, but her foundation's rescues dogs, and then they get them trained for service members, and then she donates them for people who've been waiting a long time who's still in line. She'll just make the donation, and she'll literally fly them from the facility to wherever in the U.S. She'll hand carry them to the veterans. So, so doing that, also helping the hero. We'll be giving home away to veterans again at before the games. So that will be in April. The Celebrity Softball Classic will be moved to November 4th. Because both games are going to be up at Dr. Pepper Ballpark up in Frisco, which is, again, probably one of the best minor league ballparks there is. But so we're kind of doing it when it's not too hot. In November, I think, I was at TCU game this year, and I think it would, TCU and Tech played November 4th, and I think it was maybe 75. So it's usually mid-70s in the first week of November still.
Yeah.
So we'll do both games in the afternoon. So it's the same thing in April, like a 1 or 2 in the afternoon type game. So everybody can kind of come in, get out, and go have fun with their day. And, it's not an all-afternoon type deal. So that's what we're going to do with those games. And then we're working on some stuff like Michael Lindell, My Pillow guy. He and I are working through another good friend of ours, Matt Creasel, on, maybe Mike white label on the sleep sprays for My Pillow, which hopefully that will take place. And just a lot – the IRB proof studies, really outside the softball games, it's all verb this year. I mean, actually even limiting my galas and all the ancillary stuff we do, except it's kind of like, Mama, do you want to go? If Mama's like, yeah, let's go to that one, we'll go. If not, I'm kind of at the point where I'm almost homebody at this point. Like, I just rather sit around in my Ugg slippers that my kids got me for Christmas and my shorts I worked out in, and just kind of hang out and just fiddle paddle and have fun and get on some calls. And but I just created a page yesterday, a TK page. I'm going to try to do at least a 1-minute motivational video per day. Like everybody, I get a lot of phone calls, people saying, hey, you should do this, you should do that. Today it was just be nice to people, like pretty easy, but it's actually hard for a lot of people just to be nice. And then Rocky Stucci and I, the other thing we're doing, which we will start up, which will be coming out and launch it probably around the 1st of February, would be a new podcast called Battle Scars. And Rocky has a great career in broadcasting and podcasting. He used to be on The Blaze. But I am very political, very pro-Constitution, but I'm just so sick of hearing about it on most podcasts that I just shut it off. So our podcast is going to be something that's more inspirational, motivational, and we're going to bring in celebrity friends of ours to talk about adversity they've gone through before they've got to the point they're at, And I always use the example of Bob Seger. I heard about Bob Seger, who cut 4 albums with this record label, and then they fired him because all of them were duds. And he was going to be done. He was going to go back to drive trucks or something like that. And his family talked him into doing one more album, which they all kind of self-funded. They did this one album. That was the album. That was the Bullet Band album. Like, with all these great hits, and you're like, and I tell my wife, like, what would the world be like if Bob Seger didn't do that one more album? Like all those great songs that when you hear them, you're like, you instantly Bob Seger. Like, what if he didn't do that one more album, right? And that's most people, the difference between success and not success is just most people just throw in the towel too early. And, I tell people all the time, like, man, success is hard. Like, it's hard to be successful. It's hard to be, even like right now with me and my wife, like what we have to eat on a daily basis, when, the workouts, there's so much dedication and things you have to do. I mean, it's so strict that what you have to be on and discipline to be successful, or even just have a chance to be successful, that most people just aren't willing to put that time and effort in. And I think that's what separates most people. I mean, everybody's great. I mean, that's why God made so many people ordinary, right? Because ordinary people do extraordinary things every single day. But the reality is most people just don't push themselves enough, or don't get involved, or like the bikes that you give away, all you got to do is just come get involved. It doesn't take one person, just hand somebody a bike. But you need those people to come help get bikes out or direct traffic. Or, I mean, there's just so many people have no idea what it takes to even do an event, and all the people involved. And, behind the scenes, it always looks great and simple on the front end. But even like celebrity games, people don't realize how many hundreds of hours, how many hundreds conference calls, all the above, with 18 different parties, it seems like, from stadium to your umpires to your players to your, I mean, even texting the players this year, because I'm again, OCD, I want to make sure everybody gets it directly from me. So it literally would take me 6 hours, no kidding, just to sit down and go, send a text to this one, go all the way down the rosters. It would take me 6 hours to do one text of information. And I had to do, leading up, probably easily one a week, and then the final 2 weeks, probably 2 a week. So, but again, just sitting there texting, text. Just people just don't have just don't understand. And again, being OCD and ADHD, I always hold the, I'm just very, I just want to make sure if this thing's going to go well, great. If it doesn't go well, then blame me, right? So I'll take the blame for it. So I'm very always hands-on every single thing we do. So anyway, but it's always fun. It's always, again, like Andrew Pearl's daughters, I hope that's a memory that they'll always remember.
It will be.
With being able to come out and do that with their dad, with Stephanie. I know for her, for the Pearl family, how much it did for them. And again, we didn't do that for that purpose. We just did it because we love Andrew. But again, the after fact of knowing the impact it made just on them, or the one little kid who gets the first time to come to a Globe Life, or just get to slap a Gronkowski's hand, or just any player's hand. Those are the kind of fun things. That's why we do things. And we should get up every day to try to do something to change somebody else's life for the better, I think, personally.
It's all about people.
It's all about people. And experiences, right?
That's
You're not taking the money with you, so might as well have fun, enjoy your life. And, so many people get focused up on just making money that they miss, while they're focused on chasing that gold ring, they miss all the other opportunities. And that was the same thing with me. My kids, being in the corporate world, I was that dad who was coming in the fourth quarter, how many touchdowns we got, how many tackles, any interceptions, coming in the ninth inning, how'd he pitch today, and the best thing I could ever do was leave the corporate world and, go to sink or swim mode on my own, because it's given me the opportunity to have flexibility, to spend time with my kids growing up. So it's been a blessing.
It's been good for you, and it's been good for thousands of people.
I hope so.
Because a lot of us will never realize the impact that the little things we do have from now on. Just like Larry telling the story about the kid you gave a bicycle to years ago came this year and wanted to give a bicycle.
He gave away 5.
Yeah. It always comes back around, like even with Big Brothers Big Sisters. I mean, that's one of my favorite foundations, being on their board forever, being a mentor. I got Big Brother of the Year in 2004. So many people are like, man, you probably made an unbelievable impact on that young man's life. And we got Jeremy when he was 12, and we're still close now. That's been, I think he's 33 now, maybe a little bit older. But it's like, you don't realize the impact Jeremy made on me and my family's life. Like, he is our family, right? Now he went to school at Hardin-Simmons, played football there, stayed as a grad assistant, became his master's. His first job was at Big Brothers and Big Sisters in Abilene. Wow. And then now he's a school teacher here in Fort Worth, married with 2 beautiful little daughters, and just, we couldn't be more proud of Jeremy. Now, again, he's our family, but, the impact that he's made on our life, I hope we made an impact on his life, but, again, people just got to get involved, just volunteer. And I didn't even want to do Big Brothers. I was at a corporate, the HR lady brought Big Brothers in to talk to the sales force. And of course, me, I'm hearing phones ringing, going like, when are we, like, let's get to the point here, sweetheart, and finally it was like, do we have an ending to this? Like, where, just, nice. I was like, where are we? And she's like, well,
Gonna
we're looking
land
for
this
volunteers.
airplane?
Yeah, pretty much. And she's like, we're looking for volunteers. And like, I'm looking and everybody's just like, so I was like, you know what? I'll volunteer. I'll take the lead. And again, I remember coming home telling my wife, she's like, you got 3 kids now, you hardly have time to spend with, what are you talking about? And I'm like, well, we're doing it. And like I said, it's just a blessing, right? But again, things that you don't think you have time for, you do. Things that you don't think will be of value is, but you just got to get off the bench and get involved. And it could be anything, even yourself coming out and helping us with taking pictures. It's, to me, even seeing you is like, oh, there's Rick. Great, let me go give him a hug. I'm glad he's here. Because again, you don't ever hardly get time to spend with everybody. So it's just sometimes those, 5 or 10 minutes, per year, is just makes a world of difference to me personally.
And you received the Lee Greenwood Patriot Award this year.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. Helping Hero and Lee Greenwood gave me the Lee Greenwood Patriot Award. They do several events per year and giving them out. I'm glad I got it when I did, because Mike Love from the Beach Boys got his at the same time, which I'm a big fan of Mike Love and the Beach Boys. So, and Mark Geis from Oz from 13 Hours was there. He got his Lee Greenwood Patriot Award, and there's a young man from American Idol, I believe, and a couple other veteran heroes in Nebraska and Omaha. I think there's like 6 of us total, but true honor. For me, I don't feel like I deserve it personally. I wasn't even going to go. I told Jessica, like, I'm not doing it, and she was like, yeah, you're doing it. And so again, the boss won, so we did. We went to it, and I'm glad she, we did it, and yeah, it's just a true honor. And to have Lee Greenwood, who's a friend, give it to you, and tell you how proud he is, from American icon like him, means a lot.
Well, our time's up for today, Tim, but I appreciate you coming.
I appreciate you guys having me.
You're a great American, and you're high energy, and I think you were probably high energy before you got into the performance with Verb. I think that you probably are. We
got to be enthusiastic. Living life unenthusiastic is not no fun.
And
so
it's contagious. No matter
what you do, be enthusiastic, right?
That's right. It's contagious. I'm looking forward to reading your book, Stop Whining and Start Winning, and looking forward to the softball games this year.
We'll have plenty of fun this year with roll call and everything else you guys do, and we'll try to make more of those as well, because they're always a great time. And again, so many great American heroes like you two. Master Sergeant Mary, like I told her, I wish, I had a first shirt like her, thank God, because the first shirt I had like Master Sergeant Mary kept me out of a lot of trouble when I was in the Air Force. Like, she would be the one, like, before you go in there, Timmy, let me tell you, before you go into the commander's office coming back from tournaments, she's like, prep, right? Like, okay, Jan, I got you, thank you.
Yep.
But yeah, she always took care of me. So I had a Master Sergeant Mary that looked out for me for many years while I was in Peterson Air Force Base, and I can't thank her enough. And even your career with the Army, and of course Larry. I mean, my God, Larry's like part of Fort Worth icon history around here anyway. Yeah. I mean, everything he's done, and Larry and I would like to say, go TCU next Monday. We know we're going to beat Georgia for sure, so we're excited. I can't wait to get my national championship hat from that field.
Yeah. We'll have some.
Mm-hmm.
Mary, we've got roll call.
We do. It's coming up pretty soon. I think we're going to probably open the RSVP line about Tuesday next week. I should have the newsletter out, and I should be able to confirm. I still can't confirm. I haven't gotten that definitive go on who our speaker is for January, but I'm hoping that I get it today and I can share it next week.
Could be Matthew McConaughey. Be ready.
Yeah, that would be great. But I think this is a great speaker, and we'll be honoring our Vietnam veterans.
Oh, good.
So if we have any Vietnam veterans out there listening, haven't been to a roll call lunch, haven't been given their certificate and their welcome home pin, and they'd like to do it with us in January, that's when we typically do it. That's what a part of our program in January will be, so January 27th. But RSVP should open about Tuesday next week, and then will people be able to go right online Takes you about 3 seconds to RSVP, and the rest will be history.
And how many people? Like I was blown away by going in there. Like there's what 400 or 500 people.
400
probably.
to 500 is a normal lunch
Like
these
you're
days.
like walking in thinking it's a luncheon. There's 400 or 500 veterans and their wives and spouses and family and friends, and like it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a really good time.
Yeah.
And then if you're lucky enough to go hang out at the Don Gray spot afterwards, have a few cold ones with him and listen to him. And I can't remember the other World War II veteran that was there. I just got to
Al
meet him
Chatwin?
briefly
It was
with his
probably
daughter.
Al.
It was
Yeah,
Al.
Al Chatwin.
Those two together, whoo, get ready.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
never
They're
have
the
heard
best.
them sing together because they both sing.
They do both sing. We should do that one day, but I don't know. Don doesn't like to share the
He don't like to share the
spotlight
spotlight.
with anybody.
He likes to share it with Marilyn Reiner.
Yes.
If you're female, he'll share it with you.
Yeah.
Male, get off the stage.
Whether
Right.
he can sing or not.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
That's exactly right.
Well, TK, we thank you so
No,
much for
thank you
being
guys
here.
again for all you guys do. It makes
Larry-
it a pleasure to get to be a part of everything you guys do.
Absolutely. Larry, thank you for hosting us. Don't forget the classic auto detail. It's a
Right.
new year. You need to get your car down here and get it shined up. It's a fabulous detail job if you never have experienced a clean car that's showroom. It looks like it came
Nothing
off
better
the
than
showroom.
that.
Absolutely not.
Next week we'll be in the city of the national champions.
That's right.
That's
Well,
right. We
that's
sure will be.
the morning of.
And then you come check this museum out here.
Yeah.
Come check out his office because Larry's
Absolutely.
office is awesome in here with all the history and everything he has in here. I could spend all day looking through this place. I already have pretty much, but yeah, I could spend some more time in here.
Oh yeah, and he can tell you a lot of stories.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But Mary, we'll see you next week. Tim, I'll see you soon someplace.
Well, everybody will see me soon. So yes, I appreciate you guys. And I look forward to it. And thanks for having me on your show.
A big shout out for Tyler and Dusty. Tyler just had a birthday New Year's Day, so
The
Happy
superstars
birthday.
over
he's
here.
older
Happy
than he
birthday,
was
Snow.
last show. This is Hometown Heroes, and we appreciate you watching.
What edition is this? 26?
This is 27.
27.
Wow,
So,
awesome.
we'll see you next week. Go TCU.
Go TCU.
Thank you for watching Hometown Heroes, sponsored by Larry O'Neill's Classic Auto Detail. To make an appointment, call 817-965-2626 today. For more info about Roll Call Monthly Veterans Luncheon, please visit roll-call.org. Hometown Heroes is produced by Dusty and Tyler Irving, a Telegraph Creek Media production.